So again, wow, that's great. Thank you very much. Um, so thank you for coming again. Thank you to Miss Debbie, Mr. DeGorda, Mrs. Louie, Mr. Soldat for your presence tonight as well. And as always, God is present with us. Ask God for his wisdom tonight, and you are welcome to join me in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Again, thank you for coming. And I do have some brief remarks. Obviously, I said I was going to share about this upcoming school year, but I also want to make sure I give you plenty of time for questions or needs for clarifications, things like that. Please know that this is also changing as summer comes and we just to hear what changes are being made. This is how I understand the next school year to be based on information today, and I do believe that it will only be more positive as we continue to move forward to the summer. I do intend to have a meeting probably in mid-August, because at that point we will probably have more clarifications and more specifics that I can share with you. But I also know as parents, you are probably anxious to kind of hear what the plan is. Before I talk about the 2021-22 school year, I think we have to start with how has our current school year gone? And clearly, while there have been challenges, I do want to definitely share the successes we have found this school year. For example, we've had pre-K and kindergarten on site for the entire school year, which is a huge achievement. They've been here every day, all day. Huge kudos to those teachers and staff members for their work in supporting our youngest learners. In addition, we also had a certified daycare, for lack of a better word, where we were able to support 30 plus students in the upper grades who may have struggled with distance learning or who needed that kind of structure and support. In addition, students in the returned all students or those who could return to in-person instruction this year. Unlike Portland Public, I don't mean to be critical of them, we've had students on site 5 days a week, full days since at least spring break, and we started that transition in February. That's a huge achievement. We have really made it a priority to follow all the health and safety protocols that have been laid out to us by the Oregon Health Authority, as well as the CDC. This whole school year, I can knock on wood, we've had one case of COVID in our kindergarten class, but there's been zero, and that was in October, and there's been zero COVID spread. So I do think that following the health and safety protocols have benefited our students and staff and helping us maintain the school year. And again, the information I read is that most COVID spread is happening in after school activities or in sports. Again, I think we've been pretty diligent in following all the health and safety protocols. So that's 2020, 2021. You're here to find out what's going to be 21. Actually, let me take one more step back. Another huge achievement by bringing students on site is we are addressing not only the academic needs, but the social emotional needs. You know that better than anybody. The struggles that came from distance learning and the importance of being present and together in community. As a staff, we are very appreciative of being able to be together in our classrooms as well. So that's another huge achievement for this school year. So looking at 21-22 school year, it is our plan to have in-person instruction, full days every day, Monday through Friday. The school day is 8 a.m. till 3 p.m., except for Wednesdays. We're going to move back to the Wednesday early dismissal, which is a 2:10 dismissal. For new families, or as a reminder for our current families or returning families, that 2:10 dismissal is common among the schools in the Northeast region, Catholic schools, and we have an early dismissal in order to support our teachers in having staff meetings, meeting together in regions with other schools for professional learning communities. Please know it's work time for teachers, and that's the purpose of the 2:10 dismissal. The teachers and students will be back in their own classrooms. That's one of our goals next week, is to have pre-K back in the pre-K classroom, kindergarten back in kindergarten, and all of the other homerooms back in their classrooms as well. We will continue to follow the requirements of the Oregon Health Authority and the Oregon Department of Education. In case you didn't know, the Oregon Department of Education has a pretty robust document called the RSSL, called Ready Schools, Safe Learners, and that has been updated throughout this year. Holy Cross has an RSSL plan, which is on file on our website, which has to be updated. I'm assuming, it's not assuming, I know that we will be getting more updates from the Oregon Department of Ed regarding a variety of things that I just don't have the information for you now, which I'll talk about. But we will continue to follow these requirements. So for example, we will continue to social distance as required by the Oregon Department of Ed. It's currently 3 feet. We started at 6 feet. It's now 3 feet, except for when students are eating lunches. So we will have to determine what that will look like. Will face coverings be required? Again, at this point, face coverings, we decided to finish out the year with face coverings. For those that are vaccinated, face coverings are no longer required, except for at schools, it's still a requirement. I apologize. But we will have to determine what will be in the best interest of our students at the start of the school year. As I said, for example, if they were to say that face coverings are not required if vaccinated, we also want to set up all students for success and not create any kind of have and have not situation. So again, we're not sure what will be required in August or September. Will cohorts be able to be mixed? For example, this year, every grade level has been their own cohort, and at recess times and in other situations, those cohorts have not mixed. It would be easier on staffing purposes if we could, in fact, mix cohort for recesses. It's a huge piece for after school care, which we will be having next year, but the extent of it will be dependent upon whether or not we can mix cohorts. And also with our middle school, historically, our middle school students were able to change classrooms, obviously passing each other in the hall. This year, the students have stayed put and the teachers have changed. So again, the ability to mix students and mix cohorts, we will not know until probably this summer. So again, in-person instruction, following health and safety protocols, which may or may not include face coverings, mixing of cohorts as well. A lot of questions have been is whether or not we will provide an after-school care program. It is our intention to provide after school care next year. It may be a little bit more limited in the sense of till 5 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock, based on staffing issues. The instructional aides for after school care have also been utilized as instructional aides during the day, and I need to see about how I can create a schedule that will meet the needs of during the school day as well as after school. So anticipate that it will be until 5 o'clock. I'm anticipating there'll be a pre-K and K group, assuming we can mix cohorts, and then possibly a 1 through 2 or 1 through 5, depending upon those different components. Thank you for a parent who asked some questions about when registration will happen and what the cost will be. Registration will probably not take place until August, once I have more clarity about how the program can be run. And for the cost, I apologize, I don't have that right now, but I will say we've always made it a priority to keep it very affordable. I know before COVID, 5 days a week until 6 o'clock was, I think, $250 for the month. We're not going to be increasing the costs extensively, but we will definitely make it as affordable as possible for our families. Another thing for next year is uniforms. As a Catholic school, and almost all Catholic schools, I believe, have in fact a uniform. The focus is on the internal, not the external. As students transition back onto campus this year, we also understood we were more concerned in addressing their social emotional needs than worrying about if they were completely in uniform. But I will say it's going to be a priority next year, just to prepare you that we want to make sure that we are more in compliance with the uniform expectation. For our new families, hopefully you received the uniform guide and expectations. Returning families, that will be sent home in the summertime as well. But just as a reminder, we have a uniform for a purpose. It kind of distinguishes us as a Catholic school, and we do really expect parents to help support us in that. Unlike other Catholic schools, we are pretty generous in allowing families to purchase Old Navy or Target or Fred Meyer's. So while we try to be generous in allowing a variety of options, we also need your support that when we say this is uniform, please support the uniform policy. Parents Association is going to be back as well. This year, no additional expectations were put on family. We sort of said, you've met your share hour requirements by supporting your child in distance learning. We knew you had enough on your plate. I hate to almost say returning to normalcy. The Parents Association plays a really vital role in building community at the school among all of our families, but also in supporting the teachers and the school with some financial needs that are not met through tuition obligations. Josie Stoley, I apologize if I'm saying your last name correctly, will be our Parent Association president next year, and Casey and Andrew Keppela will be kind of supporting. Thank you, Brittany. And we've already had a meeting about it. And just so you know, there will be obligations. Script, and if you're not familiar with Script, it's basically gift cards. You get full value for them, but they're sold at a discount. That is going to be resuming as an obligation, because that's one of the major fundraisers for the Parents Association. It's super easy to do online. I do it regularly. For those of you that shop at Starbucks, super easy to get those cards. So again, it's super accessible. In addition, share hours. We really need parental support. You need to be, we're not a public school. You don't drop and run. None of you do that. But you need to be engaged in your child's school. And so one way to do that is through share hours. Again, some of this we don't know yet. Will field trips be allowed? Will we be allowed to have volunteers in the classroom? But there still are other ways to help support the Parents Association. A parent asked, will there be other fundraising expectations? Besides Script, the other fundraising expectations are, we have the Jogathon, assuming that comes back, which is a student fundraiser, but also just supporting the community events by our Parents Association. They have an auction, which thank you to Brittany Roberts. We had our first virtual auction, which was a blast. Hopefully we'll go back to in-person auction. Supporting the casino night, which I hate to say is my personal favorite, and like multicultural night. So there's just a variety of ways to build community, support your child in kind of being a part of their school. So those are the additional sort of expectations and hopes. Brittany, I hate to put you on the spot. Is there anything I might have missed for the Parents Association?
Hi everyone. As Julie said, I'm Brittany, and I'm really excited to be helping the Parents Association next year. The only thing is, I think we're currently looking for some more members. So Casey, if you're on this call, you might know better, but I think we need a vice president still, or some families that want to help out with the Jogathon. So if any of that sounds interesting, we'd love to have your help, and get in touch with myself or with Casey if that sounds interesting.
I'm here, Brittany, and you nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vice president and Jogathon chair are the two that we're really looking for right now. So if you have any interest in helping out, Andrew and I will stick with Brittany for the next, at least till the end of the calendar year, but we'll be around. But yeah, there's lots of fun opportunities. So I'm really excited that the Parents Association can get back engaged with all of you again in person this year. So thank you.
Thank you, Casey, and thank you, Brittany. Remember, you choose to send your children to Holy Cross for a particular reason, and one of the most important reasons is the sense of community. Our Parents Association is as robust as you make it. We also understand that your time is valuable. You have multiple commitments, and we appreciate the commitment you make to continue to make this a thriving community. When they say helping out or chairing the Jogathon or being a vice president of the Parents Association, please know that is done with support. You'll have my support, Mr. DeGorda's, all the staff support, as well as there's a great team of parents out there that already kind of do work with you. So please know you're not doing it alone, and help your child's school become even better and more vibrant. Talking about volunteers and that opportunity, whether or not, through the Parents Association or in person, again, we don't know the level of support or level of parent involvement we can have in the building next year. This year, we basically have kind of kept us in lockdown almost. I'm hoping, because I love it when parents walk into the building. I love it when you can walk into your child's classroom. So just to get you prepared ahead of time, any volunteer that comes into the building to work with your child or in the classroom has to be in compliance with the Archdiocesan requirements, which is specifically a background check. For those that are returning parents, remember that background check is every 3 years. Regardless of how many other background checks you may do, there's one specifically through the Archdiocese, which the school pays for. So you know that anybody who's around your child, has passed, in fact, the background check. In addition, for those of you who are returning volunteers, remember there's an annual training every year, and it's generally an online training. Last, for our new families or new volunteers, there's going to be an in-person training. Mary Jane Weber is our what's called case trainer, and there'll be lots of information coming out starting in August. One with, if you're a returning volunteer, please do those requirements early. There's generally a deadline by the end of November. And Debbie and I have been in the difficult situation of saying, I'm sorry, you can't go on the field trip because you are not in compliance with the case training. So either the renewal training or the in-person training. And Ms. Weber makes a very conscious effort of doing trainings in the evening, during the daytime, on the weekend. She really tries to work with all of your schedule. So those will be the requirements of any volunteer in the building. In addition, a question, I'm not sure where to put this in, but a parent asked, what are the safety protocols? Especially, we have been sort of in lockdown this year. Normally, just so you know, our building is usually always locked during the school day. It's unlocked in the morning, the front entrance and the side entrance for students to enter the building. But about 8:15 in the morning, those doors are locked. The gym is locked, the pre-K classroom is locked, and only those that have the key to come in. Any visitor that comes into the building, not usually, has to come through the main building, which has a security camera. Miss Debbie is able to observe who they are before admitting them into the building. We always stop them at the office first. No one is able to freely walk them in the building except for staff members. The staff is trained about one, identifying unwanted visitors or unsafe visitors. Before COVID, we did what's a program called Alice training, and Miss Brandt, our PE teacher, and another teacher, did a fantastic job of preparing students about how to respond in emergency situations at a level appropriate for the students. And so we will continue to follow protocols as a staff. Our first job always is the protection and safety of your children. And so please know that we're very conscious of that. Let's see, continuing on, CYO, Nora Bridges and Walter Church, hopefully I had that correct, are our CYO athletic directors, and they are currently registering for volleyball for our young women, and hot shots, I think that's for grades, first grade and second grade. So please remember, if that's something you're interested in, and also if you're interested in the Parents Association and you don't know how to contact them, reach out to Miss Debbie. She is excellent about connecting you with who you need to be connected with. The big question, distance learning next year. I don't anticipate that we will be providing distance learning next year as it has been this year, which has been a hybrid approach. Please know that I'm in close contact with my regional principals, and I believe that's the consensus of all of our schools. This year, we allowed families to sort of make an option of remaining in distance learning, though we really encouraged it. It had been my hope that it had been primarily for medical reasons that students stayed in distance learning. And I think there was more reasons than that. For some families, it just kind of worked, or for whatever reasons, and please know I'm not being judgmental, but we had probably 10% of our population, I think 21 kids, stay in distance learning. I don't think it's healthy for students to stay in that mode of learning. And two, it really took a task. It was difficult for teachers. I watched the teachers having to address people, they're called Zoomies, that are on a Zoom call while also trying to attend to the people that are in the room. And it's difficult. We are a small Catholic school. We don't have the ability to have a real robust distance learning program like we've had this year, as well as attending to the students who are present. That being said, I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation with any family that says, for this reason, we really would like to remain in distance learning. But please know it's likely to be more of an asynchronous learning than a synchronous learning. The ability, again, of teachers to be able to do Zoom and in-person instruction is incredibly difficult. Mr. T or Miss Louie, I don't mean to put you on the spot, or Mr. Soldat, anything you would like to say about kind of the struggle being real, or have I kind of said enough? All right, cowards. All right. But again, if you
it's really hard to, sorry, Julie, I'll think of something. It's really hard to have a class discussion and allow those Zoomies to get a feel of the conversation and have organic conversations just happen, like in religion or second step. And it's also hard, like I had to teach volume over Zooming, and to hold a 3D model was really hard. So those are just kind of some things. Class discussions are hard, and showing visuals and getting the hands-on learning.
Yeah, there's just a lot of moving parts. It's good for like, like maybe like a lecture type thing, but we know that that's not the only learning style, especially for these younger students. So Yeah, we want to just make sure that everybody's involved.
My discussions with other Catholic schools is that if it is allowed, again, like it will be a more of an asynchronous, like sort of here's your lessons for the day or for the week, without a lot of an opportunity for live teacher instruction. Please know I don't want to lose any families over this, but again, we're geared for in-person instruction next year. The last, but not least, is vaccinations. I'm really excited. Holy Cross is going to be a vaccination site coming up on June 24th, I believe, Miss Debbie. We're working with Providence. I'm not getting political, and I'm not sure how this became a political issue. Vaccinations are required in other instances with the mumps and the measles and a variety of things. I don't know if Holy Cross can require it or will require it. Again, at this point, I'm working closely with my other Catholic schools in our area, as well as the high schools to find out what they're requiring. To us, again, it's not a political issue. Pope Francis, who we all love dearly, has said it is our moral responsibility to get the vaccination. Again, that being said, if it were to be required with quotation marks, understanding, as with any vaccination, families are able to opt out because of either a health reason or a philosophical reason. Again, I'm not saying they're required at this point, but it's something we continue to monitor. Ultimately, we have to get a handle on COVID. We have to stop the spread. Things are going in the right direction at this point, and it sounds like we're getting close to that 70% mark in Oregon. So just been that, no decision has been made. I think that it is true. I just saw one of the comments, University of Portland is requiring it for staff and students. I've been in consult with somebody who was on the committee at University of Portland, and while it's required, again, required in quotation marks, where a student or staff member can opt out based on medical reasons or philosophical reasons. And so we just have to kind of sort all of that out. I think I saw a question about field trips. Field trips will be dependent upon what the Oregon Department of Education allows us. I think our teachers have done a great job of extending the learning outside the classroom, and we definitely want to support that. We just have to wait to see, one, if it's allowed, and then two, what businesses or what sites will be having field trips allowed. We've done a variety, the zoo, OMSI. I mean, there's so many different sites, I can't even tell them all. So we'll just have to wait to see whether or not who's receiving field trips. Mr. T, are there any other questions?
No, I just wanted to, and yeah, feel free to send me questions or to just put it in the chat, or to just like raise your hand, and I'm happy to call on anybody. I'm not really sure how to, the best way to monitor that. But somebody had mentioned that it would be useful to maybe have just a nice comprehensive list of parent volunteer opportunities that are available and who to contact maybe for those. So I think that we can definitely get that going and then send it out to everybody, and also maybe post on the website as well.
That's great. And Miss Debbie's taking notes. We will put something in this next newsletter. And Miss Debbie, one thing, sorry, everybody, I think we also need to make sure that this next newsletter gets sent to new families so they can also see kind of how that happens. And we will work with the parent who helps us with our website to have a kind of a common posting of areas. So those will be taken care of.
I have a question.
Yes. Hey, Jesse.
Hi. So Gideon is going into pre-K, and he's never
Yay.
been in any sort of childcare situation, which I know is probably going to be the norm with this group of 4-year-olds coming in.
Yes.
And it's of course how it is with COVID. He couldn't do a stay a day. I'm just wondering if there's going to be an opportunity for the 4-year-olds to come in and meet Mrs. McEnroy and to be in their classroom, like maybe an open house type thing. So it's not totally jarring on the first day of school. Well, here you go, kid.
Absolutely, Jesse. That was also a question from one of the parents. And I sent that particular parent, who's a parent of a preschooler, a separate email. I wasn't sure how many of my pre-K families would be here, but absolutely. We have to, Miss McEnroy as well, has already talked about, my hope had been to have maybe a meeting with pre-K families. The year got away from me. So I would say sometime in middle August, we will try to have a family meeting, one, just to get to know each other. And then I'll work with the new preschool teacher about opening up the classroom for visits, as well as an opportunity for you to meet the new teacher. So absolutely, and I will work with her. She had actually said as well that she's willing to come to a meeting or whatever in order to help in the transition. And that's on me, and I apologize for not getting it going.
Please know the new pre-K teacher is a very seasoned preschool teacher, and so she will be wonderful in that transition, and recognize that many of our 4-year-olds haven't been in a school setting before.
Miss Lou is on the interview team. Any additional questions in the
yeah.
chat or?
I have
Hi.
a follow-up question. Hi, I'm Laura. Is it okay if I ask a follow-up question on that or suggest
Sure.
an idea as well?
Sure.
I am a teacher in a public school, but I'm really looking forward to next year. We live in the neighborhood, and something that we've done is it's up to the parents, but like if we can get contact information to set up an outside out of school play setup over the summer, and I would definitely be interested in helping, reach out, connect with families, and provide an opportunity for us to get together at a park, make it informal if families are also interested in doing that this summer.
That's a great idea. And I will say historically, our pre-K and kindergarten families have arranged those. I'm looking, Carolyn Connolly, her daughter Mary Grace was in our first pre-K classroom, I believe, and they ended up setting up that. It's sort of been a tradition. So if we could actually maybe utilize you as one of the contact people, it's been a great way. Let me know when it gets scheduled as well, because I also try to attend those. And I would let the pre-K teacher know as well. So I think it would be great, at least not all of them. I'm past play dates at this point in my life, but I would definitely love to come to meet the new students in a kind of more informal setting. I think that's a great idea. Melissa Walker, I saw you had your hand raised as well.
Hi, I did. We're a new family to Holy Cross, and we're really excited about the coming school year. I was wondering, our son is entering 6th grade. I was wondering if there are like new family events to help us just find our way into the community, or if there are summer play, dates for new kids to kind of get involved. I was just wondering.
That's a great question. And the difficulty is unfortunately, we've not been able to have the spend a days. And that's generally been one of the transition ways for our, especially older students as well. I have to think about that, Melissa, to see what we can do to support. Your son's not the only new student, and Mr. Soldat, who is the 6th grade homeroom teacher, is here with us. And maybe there's a way that we can kind of come up with something for maybe not just 6th grade students, but maybe middle school students who are new or something like that. So Tyler, maybe we can have a conversation, maybe not quite a play date, but maybe something similar, like, hey, come play some hoops and have some ice cream or something at the school. And I can work with Mr. Soldat on that as well.
As a child of a kindergarten student as well, I can verify you're never really too old for play dates. I mean,
My gray hair is showing, Tyler. Thank you. All right. I do appreciate you advocating for what your child needs and also the recommendations. That's important. Mr. T, any questions in the chat box or any of the additional questions?
Not that I see. Any final words, anybody? I know it sounds ominous. I do like the idea though about finding a way, like, especially like maybe over the summer or something, maybe some of the parent liaisons or parent reps can email about little class get-togethers. I think that'd be great, even just for the new students.
Mm-hmm.
RJ, Carolyn has a question.
Oh, sorry, Carolyn. Yes.
Yeah, actually, Mary Grace has the question.
Oh.
She was asking outdoor school. Is that I know they missed their opportunity with the Oregon Trail experience. Now they're in 6th grade, outdoor school. I know not usually in the fall. Would they look for it in the spring if it's not something available in the fall?
We usually pick that, Carolyn, in the fall or the spring. We can select. We will have to hear, I haven't heard anything from Camp Howard as to that happening. Debbie, maybe we can send them an email. But I'm anticipating that we should have it. I'm happy to go in the spring if we need more time for that. So haven't heard. I'm hopeful that we will be able to have it because that is an important experience. I will say our students last year did get a chance to go because they went in the fall before the school closure. So we definitely want to make sure that our incoming 6th graders also have that opportunity. Debbie?
I know Camp Howard is open this year for day and overnight camping, but I'll get in touch with Maloma Education Service District
Right.
because MESD runs that program. So
I
I will
forgot.
check with
Thank you.
MESD and see if they have any ideas yet.
Right.
But
And I did
it's a
forget,
good sign that Camp Howard is open this summer.
Right.
So,
And Casey mentioned as well for our new families and returning families, we didn't have it last year, but we have a back to school barbecue, which is sort of also bring your supplies. And it's a great community event where kids kind of get to run through the building, drop off the supplies, meet the teachers, but it's also parents get to, hang out and meet each other. And so I know that's our goal is to have that. And that's generally that week before Labor Day. Obviously, that's our in-service week. So stay tuned for that. It's our goal to have that kind of resurrected again as well. All right. Hopefully you found this helpful. Please know my email is always open. My phone's always there. Or you're welcome to catch me in the car line, which I've done the best of getting to know families. I kind of like that. Miss Debbie, Mr. DeGorda are also available as all our staff members. So please, if we end this call and you're like, oh, I had that question or I was afraid to, not afraid, but didn't feel comfortable sharing it in public, please do not hesitate. Send me an email, call me. We can set up a time to meet in person, which I'm comfortable doing. Samantha, thank you. We will do that. It is linked on the school website, but I will ask Miss Debbie to share out the RSSL plan. I got to be honest, I don't know if it's completely updated since we've gone to complete full instruction, but it is really there and it will have to be updated again when I have the new guidance. So Miss Debbie, if we can send out that RSSL plan to all families as well, or the link to it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And again, I appreciate your partnership with us. Have a great summer. Try to disconnect from screens. We all need that as much as possible. Let your children be bored. Have a great night.
Bye,
And
y'all.
Mr. T,
Thanks,
if you would
Julie.
stop recording.
All right, stopping now in 3, 2, 1.